Chunking is a great technique for processing large amounts of information. So let's say you have to remember like a really long section or really long riff, or maybe you have to remember something that you just can't play all at once. It works by breaking down a large piece of information into like little digestible bits. It basically takes advantage of how your brain is better at processing small units than like one long sentence. So when I do practice a song using chunking, I actually like to view it kind of like a video game where each section is a level, and once I master one level, I can move on to the next. So it makes it kind of more fun in that sense. Another advantage of chunking is that you can mess up and you won't have to start at the beginning each time. Like let's say you break down a riff into A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, and then C. If you mess up B2, you don't really have to go back to A. You can go back to B1 because you've practiced it in that sequence, so you're able to start from any point in the riff. I established this technique because I used to have to play long pieces in classical piano, and also in orchestra I'd have to play entire symphonies, and oftentimes that would just be a lot of information to memorize, so I ended up practicing every day page by page. And so instead of trying to master the whole thing at once, I would just master one page, get it down perfectly, and then once that's done, I would go to the next page, and then I would practice transitioning between the first page and the second page. It may seem tedious, but in the long run, it will save you a lot of time. I know that a lot of players express frustration in trying to learn a very technical riff or something. It's oftentimes because they're trying to play it too fast, and they're also trying to do too much at once. So if you do something at a really slow tempo and you break it down into little bits, it's actually a lot easier to remember it. And also it stays in your brain for a longer time. So in summary, I find that this is the most organized way to memorize and process a very detailed and involved riff. One thing to keep in mind also with practicing is that just because you can play it fast doesn't mean you've got it. You have to be able to play it at a variety of tempos. And actually, I think that playing something slow means being able to play something perfectly really slow without any mess-ups is actually true mastery. Once you can do it slow and fast and anywhere in between, you know you've got it down. So the reason I'm placing this lesson here is because from this point on, I'm going to be having you memorize like more detailed and long riffs, and I'll be talking about them in terms of sections, which is what chunking basically is. And basically I'm doing this so that it'll be easier to understand what I'm talking about, and it'll be easier to keep track of where you are.